what stood out most was the role of international centers of excellence. Honestly, didn't even know that these existed, but as I said, learned a lot. And these are centers. They are not academic talking shops. They are taking the global frameworks related to resource management and making them practical on the ground through policy, training, data, stakeholder engagement, and into decision-making tools, frankly. Some of these tools are tools that I'm hoping to start using. For me, that matters because one of the biggest gaps that in sustainability today is the gap between ambition and implementation. We see this quite often in the work we do at Lumorus. We do not lack the frameworks. What we do lack is consistent execution. Another major theme for me was, I'll call it truth, because there's lots of noise around energy transition and critical minerals and sustainability. Some of it is useful. Some of it is not grounded in evidence, frankly. And poor assumptions lead to poor policies and to poor decision making and to poor outcomes. So the work of bringing transparency, science, and data into resource decisions is not technical housekeeping. It is actually governance. It is strategic governance, to be honest. The third point was around circularity, and circularity is something that I am very big on. We can no longer think only in terms of extraction when it comes on to critical minerals and mining. We have to think about the reuse, recycling, repair, material flows, project end of life, and the long-term value. All of this has to be made part of the system. And we have to be thinking about these things from the design phase. And where those are missing, we now need to start thinking of closing those gaps. You know, in simple terms, waste is not just an environmental issue. It's a governance failure, a design failure, and increasingly a business failure. Abandoning a mine site after extraction is completed is not just a social issue. It's a governance failure, a design failure, and also a business failure. We need common global standards, but we also need local flexibility. Countries, sectors, and resources are different, as we know this in the work that we do. You know, the answer is not to choose between consistency and context. The answer is to design systems strong enough to hold both, to deal with these global frameworks, but take those global frameworks and localize them to the local laws, local ways of working, the local cultures in the local areas. My biggest takeaway from this workshop is this: you know, the failure of resource management will not be won by slogans. It will be won by institutions, data, capability, and disciplined implementation. And that is where leadership now matters, right? Because responsible resource management is not just about protecting the planet. It's all about building, or it also includes building economies, protecting societies, building markets, and building organizations and systems that can actually last and deliver responsible value for all stakeholders.